Okay, there are still some joining, so we'll just wait for a minute, one more minute, and then we will start. Okay, so we have all our speakers present, so we can start. Good day to everyone, and thank you to all for joining us today in this webinar on business action for the circular economy in Southeast Asia, which is being co-hosted by the ASEAN CSR Network and the Switch Asia Policy Support Component. This is an important event as we celebrate the MSME, World MSME Day today. So my name is Lorraine Gatlabayan from the Switch Asia Policy Support Component, or PSC, and I will be your facilitator in this webinar. So I would like to begin first with the housekeeping rules for the webinar. Next slide, please. So as this is a Zoom meeting, may I request everyone to keep your microphone in mute, unless, of course, if you're speaking. And I would like to inform everyone that this webinar will be recorded and it will be available in the Switch Asia media channels. We would also like to invite everyone to participate and send questions in the chat box, and we will be addressing your questions in the panel discussion and in the Q&A session. Next slide, please. So just to show you in this webinar, the agenda for today, we have distinguished speakers who are joining us to present the initiative of the ASEAN CSR Network and the Switch Asia Policy Support Component on mobilizing business action for circular economy in Southeast Asia. We will also be discussing how circular economy is being understood in ASEAN and how it is being applied by businesses through their practices. And this will be showcased through the business cases. And also in this webinar, we hope that our participants will be informed of the emerging insights on the business commitment and actions towards circular economy in the region. So in this event, hopefully we'll be able to gather insights about these initiatives to support circular economy policy and practices in Southeast Asia. So to know more about the speakers, we will be providing in the chat box the website link for you to see their short profiles. Okay, so first we will now start with the welcome remarks of Mr. Thibaut Portevin. He's the head of cooperation at the EU delegation to Indonesia and the EU delegation to ASEAN. Thibaut, you have the floor.
Thibaut, if you're talking, we cannot hear you. You might be muted. Could you check this?
We cannot see him.
Okay, Thibaut seems to be offline. So, okay, he's now back. Yeah. Thibaut, are you online now? Can you hear us?
Thibaut has trouble with connection, but he will join soon. Let's wait for some minutes.
Okay, sure. Thibault, can you hear us? You're muted as well. Yeah,
Good afternoon,
all right,
Lorraine.
thank you.
Yeah, very sorry for the delay, but connection problems, unfortunately. I hope this is fixed and that you can hear me and see me well.
Yes, we can see you and hear you clearly. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, and really sorry for being late. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to join this event this afternoon with all of you. This afternoon, for colleagues joining from Asia, and maybe if there are colleagues joining from Europe, good morning. Today, we celebrate the world's micro, small, and medium-sized enterprise day to raise public awareness on their contribution to sustainable development and the global economy. And as MSMEs play a key role in EU's international cooperation activities, I'm very pleased to welcome you today on behalf of the European Union to this webinar on business action for circular economy in Southeast Asia. This webinar is co-hosted by the EU Switch Asia program and the ASEAN Corporate Social Responsibility Network. It brings us together to discuss the benefits and experience of business leadership on circular economy in Southeast Asia. The EU and ASEAN share many common objectives on the transition to more sustainable economic models. In the EU, circular economy is at the heart of our growth strategy, the European Green Deal, and many concrete initiatives have been adopted over the past years, such as the EU Circular Economy Action Plan, as well as measures in key sectors such as plastics and batteries. Circular economy is also key to our external action framework, including the Global Gateway, our strategy to tackle global challenges such as climate change through infrastructure investments. The ASEAN and its member states have also shown commitments to the circular economy transition. For example, through the adoption of the 2021 ASEAN Circular Economy Framework and its national and thematic action plans. These frameworks bring together all the stakeholders, including the business community. In line with these respective ambitions in the EU and in the ASEAN, we've made circular economy a key priority of our partnership and cooperation initiatives in the region. The EU Switch Asia program, which co-hosts this event today, is our flagship program on sustainable consumption and production in Asia, and one of the main initiatives we support to engage with MSMEs in the ASEAN region. The program stimulates the adoption of greener and more efficient models by industries. It supports policy reforms, and it facilitates partnerships and networking among policymakers, businesses, and civil society. One of the technical advisories of the program's policy support component is on the mobilization of business action for circular economy in ASEAN, which is being implemented at the initiative of the ASEAN Corporate Social Responsibility Network. This technical assistance aims to build a shared understanding of the importance and the business case for circular economy in the ASEAN. It also aims to document and draw lessons for replicating and scaling up circular economy business models through close engagement with MSMEs. There are already many private sector initiatives in ASEAN moving towards circular solutions, and I'm glad that the Switch Asia program showcases these best practices to encourage scaling up and others to follow. We are celebrating and launching today more than 50 business cases that have been curated through this technical cooperation program in partnership with businesses in Cambodia, Indonesia, the Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam, and the list is still expanding. Many of these are from MSMEs, including technology and socially driven startups, while others are well-established businesses which have already taken up responsible business practices and the innovation agenda. These business cases are truly inspirational, and they have already galvanized the interest of other businesses and business membership organizations to further advance the circular economy in ASEAN. Disseminating the successful experience of these circular enterprises is all the more important to the EU, as we want to ensure links and partnerships between the diverse initiatives we support on circular economy as EU and as Team Europe in cooperation with EU member states, cooperation and finance institutions. Our partnership on ASEAN on circular economy also includes cooperation on knowledge and policy development through a new project with Denmark, support to the ASEAN Circular Economy Stakeholders Platform hosted by the ASEAN Center for Sustainable Development Studies, and also engagement with key partners such as the EU Business Council, as well as partnerships involving businesses through pilot projects in key sectors under the Switch Asia Green Business Component. So this is really a wide range of projects showing our engagement with the ASEAN on circular economy. Coming back to the event today, I look forward to learning more about the business cases that will be presented. To the Switch Asia policy support component, we plan to continue engagement with MSMEs and all key stakeholders to participate actively in regional dialogues on circular economy. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you a very fruitful webinar.
Thank you, Thibault, for your opening remarks. May I now request Dr. Zinaida Fadiva, team leader of the Switch Asia Policy Support Component, to give a presentation on the technical advisory on business action for circular economy in ASEAN. Zinaida, please go ahead.
Good morning, good afternoon, colleagues, and of course it's a celebration. So everybody, happy World MSME Day. This is a time when everyone should put their little hearts and applause on different things. So colleagues, it's wonderful to spend this time with you. Big welcome to all SMEs which were working with us, and larger companies as well, which submitted their examples. So you are with us today, you would be on the panel. Big welcome also to our experts, Tan, Chutatip, Lisa, Nia, Ratana, Thomas, Rene, thank you very much, and wonderful to celebrate this day with you. Big thanks also, of course, goes to the colleagues of the EU, which always unfailingly supported us in this journey. So we now are going to get a very, very quick overview of the Switch Asia program so that you see how this specific technical advisory, how this project is sitting within the broader context. And it is not important only because we are of course proud of this work naturally, but also because the work which we are doing within the business sector could feed and benefit from and feed into all of these other activities. So that's the main purpose of this presentation. So the next slide, please, colleagues. So the program, Switch Asia program, is all this technical advisory. We operate since 2007. The new stage started in 2023, last year. And under this stage, we expanded geographically and also in terms of our focal areas. So first of all, from 24 countries at the previous stage, we are now working with 42 countries across Asia, Middle East, and the Pacific, which of course has a practical implication because it also allows us to connect between the region of ASEAN and other regions. So practical and very important, interesting fact. And also this is where leadership of ASEAN in the area of circular economy, where businesses are active, really could shine and benefit other regions. Objectives still for us as a previous stage is to work on low carbon, resource efficient and circular economy with focus on the supply chains. And of course, small and medium size and micro enterprises are very integral part of the supply chain. Economic sectors with which we work are the most polluting sectors, and some of them are listed here. It's food systems, textile, leather, plastic, sustainable tourism, rather unsustainable tourism, which we are working towards sustainability, construction and infrastructure, and quite a few more. Next slide, please. So what we really is emphasizing, and Thibault, thank you very much for already highlighting it. So we are largely governed by the development and ambitions of the EU Green Deal, not so much to use it as a as information about what is coming in the EU and how will it impact the region of Asia and the Pacific, but also to show you what kind of dilemmas, tensions, and solutions different nation states of the European Union comes through to come with particular policies and actions leading to resource efficient and circular economy, and mutually find a better solution also in Asia or between Europe and Asia. Next slide, please. Switch Asia program, it consists of two components. One of them is called the grant scheme, and this is where program supports collaborative projects between EU and Asia, and also in the Pacific countries, with an objective to test and take sustainable consumption and production practices, particularly among the SMEs in the countries. So it's really on the ground work with tools, approaches, frameworks in the area of sustainable consumption and production and circular economy. And of course, it goes also for the consumer organizations and associations. It's not only about one of or even dozens of the practices. It's really truly about uptake among the hundreds of SMEs, for example, SCP practices. The call for these proposals is issued every 1.5 or 2 years. We are hoping, as a result of the last call in the year 2023, by the end of this year, we will have a new theme of the projects in different countries in Asia and the Pacific. The second component is called policy support component, which is providing support to the countries in the region, in the Asia and the Pacific, on the request of the regional organizations and the governments to develop policy frameworks, policy roadmaps, laws, which also would come to and assist implementation of the sustainable consumption and production practices and circular economy. Next, please. Among the grant projects, which is the first component, we had since the beginning of the program 150 projects operational. At the moment, there are 30 ongoing ones, with, as I mentioned, probably around dozen or more. We hope will be operational by the end of this year. They are operational in different areas, ranging from textile and plastic and tourism and building and construction. Next, please. For the policy support component, we are now working with about 10 technical advisories, which have 3 major objectives. Number one is to support the design or regional or national action plans or programs focused on sustainable consumption and production and or circular economy. Among those are green public procurement, monitoring, reporting on SDG 12, and more. The second objective is really to bring together the issue of the material production and consumption and climate change. For example, through inclusion of the SCP targets into nationally determined contributions of the countries. And finally, the third objective for us to facilitate dialogue within the region and between the region and the EU. The most important aspect to emphasize here, we are at this stage not working on bilateral basis while program to the country. We work with groups of countries or region and the program, and therefore it helps us not only to provide in-depth support to the countries, but also to integrate and facilitate the knowledge among them, and therefore creating hopefully this collaborative alliances. And certainly this project, which is going to talk to you in the context of this webinar, is an illustration of this. Next, please. So this is just the topics on which we are working within the technical advisory or policy support areas. You could see here a variety of topics, wide range, focusing on material and climate, as I mentioned to you, extensive producer responsibility, circularity of secondary material, green public procurement, plastic topic, question of financing for SMEs, etc., etc. Please do visit our website to see more in-depth description of this project and possibility to link with them. Next, please. Now we come to the most exciting point and focus of this webinar, because the activities which we are talking about is really coming from this specific technical advisory, which is called Mobilizing Business Actions for Circular Economy in ASEAN. This technical advisory came on the request of the ASEAN CSR network, and this is very, very unusual for us, or unusual yet, technical advisory where we act on the request of the regional organization, which is a business organization working with membership of businesses. So the original request here has been to catalyze business commitment and actions towards circular economy through in-country learning, consensus, and commitment building, to develop among the businesses and within the business community joint understanding of the mandate and trajectory of business actions towards circular economy. So it's really what you are hearing today will be really about business thoughts, ideas, endorsed, verified, advised, and still work in making. So we hope that this is just the beginning of the conversation, even though we are going through this process with experts and with all of you already for about 9 months. The next, please, next slide. Currently, we are worked with 50 plus, or actually 55 different businesses from 5 countries in ASEAN. Very diverse businesses, and the businesses would be, and colleagues will be speaking about that, very different in nature. You will speak about startup companies, you will speak about MSMEs, you will speak about transnational corporations, actions which all work with aspects and with philosophy and with ambition of a circular economy. So it is really ASEAN-centric and ASEAN-driven practices, and it has been really quite an ambition for us to make your voices stronger, refined, heard, and coming together. So with this, allow me to turn, Lorraine, back to you, and maybe even to the deeper discussion about the principles of circular economy, which were co-developed with businesses in the region, about the practices, and eventually to the wonderful experience of hearing from the businesses themselves. So from our side, again, from the team of Switch Asia, Lorraine and I, who is coordinating this technical advisory, again, congratulate you all with World MSME Day, and express our pleasure of working with you continuously beyond this webinar. Over to you, Lorraine.
Thank you, Zenaida. So our next speaker will be Dr. Renee Van Berkel, who is the Senior Expert on Circular Economy in Switch Asia Policy Support.
How did you hear?
Can we please ask the participants to mute? Thank you. So Dr. Van Berkel will be giving an introduction on the unifying framework for action on circular economy and in ASEAN, and we'll provide an overview on the circular economy business cases that were developed. Renee, the floor is yours.
You're muted. Renee, you're muted.
Renee, please unmute.
Okay, is it better now?
Yes, you're visible. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Sorry for the false start, but happy MSME Day. And of course, we celebrate that MSME are a cornerstone of the economy, are the driving force of many supply chains going to Europe, go within ASEAN, everywhere. And with that, with the MSMEs, we also celebrate diversity. So diversity, small startups, small backyard shops. And this diversity also then means that we have leaders, which we will celebrate today, leaders in circular economy. Unfortunately, it also means that we have some laggards. So people overall, MSME sector is perhaps underperforming the larger industries. So that's something that we need to discuss. So if we celebrate the leaders, we need also to find opportunities to co-engage and bring, accelerate progress with some of the people who are laggards. So we speak about circular economy, and I just want to highlight here that we are basically speaking about an evolving green agenda, where we had in the Rio conference in '92, we already introduced sustainable consumption and production, and it's still SDG 12, which is basically emphasizing the life cycle perspective. So looking from cradle to grave and basically cradle to cradle again, the 2000s, or then the green economy, green growth, green industry moving. And as of the last 10 years or so, we have increasingly seen then the circular economy. And with the circular economy, of course, it means very different things to different people. So basically what I want to highlight here is that it's basically a systems perspective on the relation of inflows of resources, which you see at the bottom of this diagram, inflow of resources into the economy, and then the outflow of waste, or also emissions and wastewater into the environment, and then the impacts of these flows of resources on the planet. And in terms of planetary impact, we nowadays speak then about basically the three planetary crises of climate change, loss of nature, and accumulation of pollution and waste. And these are highly interrelated, as also the International Resources Panel has highlighted earlier this year. A large share of these three planetary crises associated with the use of materials and the discharge of waste as in the environment. However, so we get this sense of breaking this linear take, make, use, throw away economic model into take, make, use, and recover circular economy model. But I would add there repeat, because we want to, of course, we use again, so it's endless. But this idea, this sounds great, but it hides actually a great diversity of interpretations, and that hamper also, and we need to face that a degree of skepticism and lack of implementation. So skepticism, that some people are very optimistic, others are profound pessimists and say it's just environmentalism dressed up for the 21st century of greenwashing, and maybe something in a position in the middle that it's realistic, that we can use this as a framework for action. So this comes back basically. This comes through that we have basically to recognize that we have different perspectives feeding into the circular economy. We have on the one side, and I would say that's maybe the Ellen MacArthur Foundation that drives this, the ecosystem metaphor. So let's see, can we adopt nature's principles into the economic system? So we're zeroing out waste and pollutants, keeping products in use, regeneration of nature is really ecosystem metaphor. So copy and paste, so to speak, what's happening in nature into economic systems. Then we have basically the precautionary principle, which was embedded in the Rio Declaration, which is saying that if in doubt, then please don't do it if there's a risk. And this precautionary principle, we all know that in basically the waste management hierarchies, reduce, reuse, recycle, and then that will also then be expanded now. We have added more R strategies, refurbishment, remanufacturing, refuse. So that's the kind of the precautionary principle. If we don't know whether there might be an impact, we better not do it. Then there's another stream we're saying that if we want to change these material flows, we need to look at how business and society basically derives value out of these material flows. And then we come to the perspective, which is basically saying that circular economy is about different business models, on how we create value, how we retain this value, and how we share the values of materials as they come from a mine site to become metals, to end up in EV, and then end of life management. And then we could speak about concepts as closing the business loops, or narrowing, or slowing down. And then the third component is maybe more what the resources panel is emphasizing, is that we basically need to unshackle economic development, social development from increasing use of natural resources. This concept of decoupling, delinking economic development from increased natural resource. We need to do more economic value with less resource use, less environmental impact, and for more societal benefits. So these perspectives lead to quite different things. And this is maybe as a bit of a background to this TA, which was aimed at, as Zinaida introduced, at arriving at a shared understanding of the criticality scope and business case for circular economy in ASEAN. We had a number of business consultations, and I would not go in all the details, but basically it's circular economy sounds great, but what are we going to do about it? And that basically comes down to what's the purpose, what's the scope, what's the rationale, what's the means, and how does it contribute to development of the countries, development of the ASEAN region? And we came up with basically the purpose is clearly to mitigate the triple planetary crisis. The scope is then, if we want to address the triple planetary crisis, we have to do something about sustainable use and management of natural resources. So it's about how we deal with natural resources. The rationale is really the business responsibility, and responsible business creates benefits. The means of how we do that is basically through new products, new technologies, new processes, and that is innovation, which beyond a bit of the traditional boundaries of a business or a sector. And then ultimately, we also look at this from a perspective of development to support and de-risk socioeconomic development from environmental impacts. So that brought us to this document, which is also on the website, which says then a unifying framework with 5 guiding principles. First one says net zero for climate, nature, and environment. So it phrases circular economy within the context of abating climate change, abating the degradation of nature and the degradation of the environment. So we basically say if you have if you do circular, you can only be circular if there's no losses. So there's net zero. Then we say that how do we then deal with resource users? We have to circle it. That's closing the loop. We have to do it efficiently. So we use less stuff. So the loops get smaller. And we can also make use of renewables. So substitution, because renewables, we can in principle cycle back at sustainable levels in nature. Then we are aspiring to speak to responsible business, because if you look at the social responsibility frameworks and ISO 26000, it speaks about business taking responsibility for impacts of its decisions and activities on society and the environment, and deciding on a product, decides on how much material is being used, decides on the circularity impacts. So it's part of responsible business. And we say if you want to address that, you need to find new products, new service concepts, new value chains, and that happens through innovation, or call it not just innovation as being science, but also new product development, so ideation, co-creation, which you do in the supply chain. And then, of course, so far I've spoken about circularity as a narrow environmental concept, but we of course then need to look at, once we have found solutions for circular economy or potential solutions, we need to look at net benefits. Of course, we want to do the circular solutions that help us best in terms of de-risking economic development from the impacts of climate change in terms of social and economic benefits. And then we also said that basically let's focus for ASEAN on some of the key sectors where there's a lot of manufacturing happening. So it's food and beverages, textiles, garments, leather, footwear, furniture, homewares, automotive, electric, tourism, and construction. So you will see also some of the cases later on in there. And then we also suggested some metrics, and that's basically using the circular economy metrics from the World Business Council and adopting a little bit of what is in the ISO 59000, which came out. So you could look at a programmatic one. So what's the policy, the plan, and the targets, and you could look at the results. So material circularity, materials efficiency, use of renewable energy. So I will not really elaborate on this. I think this is just for people to follow up on that. Then, as Zinaida said, we put a lot of effort on this, and this we would like to celebrate really is to analyze business cases. 55 have been analyzed and documented from Cambodia, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. And more to follow. The 5 countries were initially selected. We are now also looking at some of the other countries, and it covers different sectors. So here you see a breakdown by the sectors. That's is of no significant value. This is all illustrative. And then we see here sectors which we have covered. So there's quite a lot about fashion, but I could include it there, the furniture and homewares, and also, of course, footwear. Agriculture has quite in there, hospitality businesses are in there. So quite a diverse group, quite interesting. So let me, it's impossible to cover the diversity and the richness of these cases. So I'll take a few to walk you through. So first in agriculture, I take this one from Andin in Vietnam as basically low carbon rice cultivation. So 60% reduction of greenhouse gas emissions by reducing planting density. So you have fewer straws, but more tillers of rice for each straw. You do alternative wetting and drying. So you interrupt the anaerobic cycle. So there's no methane formed. You minimize fertilizer use. So you get no nitrous oxides done, and you do the residue management. So you do accelerated aerobic decomposition, so you don't get the anaerobic conditions. So these farmers are then saying 15 to 20% yield increase and 7 to 8% income increase and 60% reduction of GHG emissions. And there's a second business case, because this is in the north of Vietnam, that it can be customized also to growing conditions in the south of Vietnam, in the Mekong Delta. My second example for agriculture comes from Cambodia. It's the pepper farm. So it basically introduced an alternative system to fair farms to include a cover crop, which is basically growing grass, a peanut grass, below the pepper plant. So you avoid erosion, you maintain the quality, and you improve the irrigation and fertilization efficiency. You then do the intercropping to create a symbiosis between the two crops. So vanilla is being done, and you get additional value, and that's being organic certified and fair trade certification. So many benefits there. If I go food and beverage, I jump back to Vietnam. Phuc Sinh Corporation, they are basically taking the berries, the coffee berries, and convert that into herbal tea from previously discarded coffee husks. But to do that, and it's a high value cascara tea, you have to basically restructure the coffee value chain. So you have to change that there's less chemicals left on the coffee berries, otherwise you can't make a tea. So you go to low input and almost organic coffee cultivation. You have to more carefully harvest and not all harvesting at the same time, and then improve processing. And as a result, you have a better coffee, higher quality coffee, and you have a second high value product. So this is Phuc Sinh. Second example is Burke Greens from food and beverages. It's in Indonesia. It's basically a company that started as a owner's kitchen with some food outlets in Jakarta and Bali, and became now a major producer of vegan products based on plant protein and fungi proteins. Around popular Indonesian dishes and also international dishes. And so they did also a lot on food waste minimization, and also had to co-develop their new value chains with farmers. And they have set up a spin-off business, which is Green Rebels Frozen Vegan Food, which is now also operating internationally. So then I go handicrafts, and this is from Banay, from the Philippines. Where basically the typhoon washed away the stigok cultivation, and they redeveloped the grass the agroecological model and the value chain. So it recovered thereby and improved the soil. They improved them pre-processing and introduced solar drying, and reinstated the traditional weaving techniques for both established products and mats, which they had, and novel products, which are bags and other displayed products, decorative products. So the harvesting frequency has almost doubled, a better quality of the teak-oak fibers, and new products from previously wasted cut-offs. And of course, this has improved income and livelihood for both the farmers and the weavers. So then I go to cement. This is perhaps a more classical example of circular economy. This is SBI in Indonesia. They started to use alternative fuels, but they did a specific one. They did basically because municipal solid waste in Indonesia, most countries, is too wet to use as a fuel. So they did a mechanical biological pre-treatment of municipal solid waste. They have now 160 tons of municipal solid waste that produced a 0.78 terajoule of fossil fuel replacement, coal replacement. And they have increased also the use of industrial waste as an alternative fuel by 48% over 3 years. If I take another example on the building sector, then that's big in Indonesia. That's basically pioneering this modular construction, and that's dematerialization of the building. So we make buildings much lighter by prefabricating them and pre-fitting them with fittings, electric and sanitary fittings. They're flat packed and then assembled. And once the use of the building is over, you can basically deconstruct and put it on a truck and put it somewhere else. So the example, because the benefits are specific to the specific project. So it was a COVID hospital set up 2,400 square meters. If you look at what the weight of the building was, it was only 15%, so 208 tons of materials instead of 1,400 tons if it was done a traditional way. There was then, because it's a lighter building, you need less concrete for the foundations. It's 480 cubic meters instead of 720. And this building has already disassembled, has been transported to Nusantara, the new capital of Indonesia, and has been assembled as a workers' hostel. So many advantages. Then maybe fashion. I go to Wakol, close by Bangkok. They are looking at material substitutions for bra components. So they use PCR, post-consumer recycled polyester from bottles, recycled nylon from fishing gear, and some eco-foam, which is made with palm oil. And they look at reducing the material diversity by having strapless and hookless bras. So resource efficiency, they've also done through rooftop solar, and they give care instructions and repair service to extend the use. And they also set it up to do end-of-life collection for energy recovery with an annual bra day, mail-in and drop-off service for end-of-life products. I think then hospitality, I go to Cambodia, Knai Bang Chat, a resort, a luxury resort where they practice resource circularity, 100% composting of organic waste, single-use plastic-free, more than 75% waste diverted. Resource substitution with solar rooftop, sustainable and local sourcing, resource efficiency with energy and water efficiency, LED lights, better controls on the air conditioning. And they are quite involved with the community and conservation. And you see on one of the pictures, the Cal West precinct, they will actually also do a marine conservation area. And they have the certification, the prestigious platinum certification of Green Growth 2050 for the tourism sector. My last case, I think, is the one on industrial symbiosis, which is based in Nam Cao Tin Industrial Park in Vietnam. So you see these businesses collaborating. So there's 50 plus exchanges where waste from one company is used by another company. This basically diverts than 55,000 tons of steel industry byproducts, and they are recovered annually, and they have common facilities, and they also done some rooftop solar, so integrated approaches. So what's common in these cases is, of course, that they are combining different approaches. So it's not only circularity, but also efficiency and substitution. So in terms of business case, and Zinaida already referred to that earlier on, we see on the left-hand side different approaches. So about a third is MSMEs, about a third is startups. There's some social enterprise and startups, and also mainstream corporates. On the right-hand side, you see what is basically the main component of that in terms of resource circularity, efficiency, and substitution. So many of them, 35 out of 55, have kind of circularity, so still working on a waste stream or waste material or waste heat. And then the second largest is the resource efficiency coming up. So you see businesses taking an integrated approach with different solutions being pursued in different parts of the organization. The question, of course, is why do business get involved? And I think there are immediate cost savings. So efficiency and energy, water, materials is a cost saving. We see businesses entering in because they see new opportunity for new products, new services, and new markets. We see also businesses that are saying that are recognizing that this circular economy is changing the world. So better be prepared. So what should we look at? We are mainstream business, but how can we gradually improve? And then there's also some businesses who are saying, yeah, this is the talk of the town, so we need to know what's happening and maybe we find some innovations. So we can say it's a mixture of preparedness and opportunity that drives businesses. What's also important and what appears to drive success, because it's not rocket science, but it's clear that what we see from this business is a sense of purpose. So these companies know what their magnetic norths, they understand a bigger picture, but also how they can make a tangible contribution there too. Then all of them involve some level of innovation. So not necessarily rocket science, but applying into a new product or process that has a material impact on the use of material, energy, water, and natural resources. And for that, they apply knowledge. So it's knowledge-driven in solutions. And that can be formal knowledge, the traditional research and development, the tacit knowledge, but also traditional knowledge, skills, and culture. And some of the examples from agriculture are very clear for that. What's also very critical is entrepreneurship. So we can all see that as a business idea of opportunities, but how do we turn this into a successful business ventureship? And that's entrepreneurship. And let us also say that these are then the assets to deal with challenges in technology, financing, and markets. These are clearly barriers, but just finance or technology will not solve the problem. We need these internal drivers in terms of purpose, innovation, knowledge, and entrepreneurship. So we got also some feedback from the business community, and I think that we see a further endorsement, and we can also expand on that in the rest of the discussion. That this principles-based approach is welcoming for adding purpose and unlocking progress, because there's a lot of understanding that what is circular economy, how is this ASEAN-centric, how can this benefit ASEAN, how can this benefit businesses, but we see this now much more opportunities, and not necessarily going from completely uncircular to fully circular, but rather to see small steps, what is there. Business cases are truly inspirational. So people are saying, yeah, this is great work what companies are doing, and it provides also an actionable agenda for implementation of responsible business conduct. So we can't avoid that it's also business responsibility. So the challenges, what is there, I put that a little bit as people are very much switched on to recycling. A circular economy is almost equals recycling, but to a certain extent, recycling is the wrong end of the stick. So if we want to eliminate waste, we should address product design, redesign of value chains, and not start to just re-engineer recycling only. Business remains a bit worried of what responsibility means, and that's okay, fine. We have to work on that degrees of responsibility, but gradually accepting some level of progress. I think also a challenge is then if we have the big picture, how do we translate this into an actionable agenda? So kind of this is the 2050 picture, but how do we get started in 2024 or 2025? So what's our staircase to get to this situation? And for that, we need customized decision support, knowledge that's appropriate and applicable, that's ASEAN-centric. So that's also a little bit of where the work is currently happening, moving with the ASEAN Business Advisory Council. Jill is also on the call, Araiba, the Responsible and Inclusive Business Alliance, to kind of work towards a pledge of business leadership and action on the circular economy that would provide visibility and voice to companies like these 50 plus, which we have showcased here, but there's probably a multitude of them if we start looking for them and give them a voice and some recognition and build around that, get a snowball effect around this. And for that, we need to then continue to document and showcase good business practices and innovative solutions like these ones we have, facilitate and some of the learning and sharing among the participating companies, and look a bit at the operational tools and metrics. So what's the toolbox for moving towards this ambitious circular economy agenda? So I will stop here, but I really want to reiterate that what I just presented is the teamwork of the people here involved. So thank you very much. Here's the scan, there's the link. So please take some time, please read some, pick up some, start debating, arguing, and let's create a movement for circular economy in ASEAN. Thank you very much. Over to you, Lorraine.
Thank you, Rene. Apologies as we are 15 minutes behind the scheduled time in the agenda, but I do hope that you can still join us until the end of the webinar because we have more interesting discussions to come. as we move towards the panel discussion. So this will be moderated by Mr. Thomas Thomas. He is the CEO of the ASEAN CSR Network and also one of our senior experts in the Switch Asia Policy Support Component. We are also joined by distinguished speakers representing the businesses who participated in developing the business cases. Ms. Elodie and Mr. Alexander Radach, who are co-founders of the Sayok Springs, Mr. Bud Metz, who is the founder of the Precious Plastics Philippines, Ms. Alisara Sivayaton, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Civitel Bangkok Hotel, and Ms. Ingrid Van Ginkel, who is the General Manager of Hus Ventures Cambodia. Thomas, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to all the participants of this webinar. I want to first and foremost say that 55 case business examples has been the work of a team. And I want to start off by acknowledging the team. I think all of them are in this webinar. Ratana from Cambodia, Nia from Indonesia, Lisa from Philippines, Chutatip from Thailand, Tan from Vietnam. These 5 ladies did a lot of work to get these 55 case studies. And Renee, the real expert, was also involved in asking the right questions, adding value, and finally coming up with this case studies that is clear. There are 55. I would strongly advise you to go and look at our website, read about it. We are just going to do a little bit of talking to 4 of these companies that were in the and our case studies, 4 out of 55. We're going to do a little bit more depth. I'm going to say that we also got I'm very honored that the very critical people in these 4 enterprises has been here. Sayok Spring is a husband and wife team. Alexander and Elodie Rashad. I will just give a small description so you don't tell you too much about it. So you will continue. You will go and read the beautifully well-written case examples. These are selling locally sourced premium mineral water directly to restaurants, hotels in Bangkok, Phuket, Hua Hin. They use reusable glass, so it is the bottles are taken back, and there's a system of recycling. They are the first in Thailand's closed-loop, locally sourced premium water brand, and giving a solution on this plastic bottle pollution. Their carbon footprint is 91% lower than the competitor from, which is imported mineral water from Europe. And I can go on with the list, read the articles. Thanks, Alex and Adoli, for joining us. Then now, what more precious plastics? But have you left us or you're still around? Okay. This gentleman is from the Philippines. What he does is he supplies recycling machinery for plastics. It started as a backyard operations in 2017. So now you find the use of value of the used plastic as a resource that you don't throw away, but you recycle these waste plastics easily, more accessible. So communities, local entrepreneurs, environmental enthusiasts could all use the knowledge and tools to build up a sustainable business by selling these recycled products and building materials. So I think they also supports the community in terms of grassroots collection and turnkey recycling projects more than. The third one I want to acknowledge is, sorry, I must introduce the founder of this, is Civitel Bangkok Hotel. Now it's family owned. It's now run by the 3rd generation of the family. Elisara as the Chief Executive Officer. This hotel is, I think, is a unique example of how you could integrate green practice onto the styles of the hotel, the comfort, the luxury, without compromising on profits as well as sustainability. You don't have to, you can do it together. I think it's real. And so the sustainability practices of the hotel are many, but I want to tell you that they have also implemented net zero policies and adopted food safety and environmental initiatives that really cover circular economy. I will ask Elisara later a little bit more. Then we have Ingrid, who is the general manager of Hearts Ventures Cambodia. This is a company that turns the rice husk into biochar process, and that addresses some of the environmental and agricultural challenges. So it's a circular solution that rejuvenates the traditional use of biochar, tailored to modern agricultural demands. So I will say I could go on, but I know time is a bit short. So can I just start off with the husband and wife team and ask you, what is the innovations and the measures that your company makes towards circular economy?
I think the first part is that, of course, we have to acknowledge. Sorry, the video stopped. We have to acknowledge we are small. So what we try to do is we try to make the returnable or reusable bottle system cool again, because especially Thailand as a second highest single-use plastic consumer in the world is somewhere we wanted to change. We don't use any, let's say, things which didn't exist. So I can't say that it's that innovative. It's more about the positioning in the market, that we get the right audience group or target group to find recycling and reusing cool. So therefore also we started in the premium segment that we then can trickle it down later to the more broader segments where we already have some, of course, some forms of reuse glass exist in Thailand. Like for Coca-Cola, you might see in the mom and pop shops, they still use it. But of course, it's decreasing. So therefore, we wanted to stop the trend and increase it again.
Thank you. I thought you were, I hope everybody will follow the example of being brief and to the point. Can we just ask, go on to Bruce in precious metal? Are you still around? Because I don't see.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Now you're so much clear. Can I ask you the same question on your measures and innovation that makes your company circular?
Okay, so I guess how could I guess the best way to phrase it was that we focus on taking the plastic that no one else wants and turning it into valuably usable products. That's half of our business. Half of it, we make plastic lumber. We are primarily focused on taking the single-use sachets. And then the other half of the business is we build recycling equipment for local governments and NGO groups to do their own recycling. So and we started out with open source machines and from the International Precious Plastic, and we designed machines that worked with locally available parts and materials and expanded the precious plastic universe, as we call it, here in the Philippines.
Can I just ask you another question to relate to this? Your two businesses and other streams. What has been the benefits of your measures in your company for the environment, your business, and your stakeholders?
Well, for one, we could break it down into multiple things. So one is livelihood. I would say one of our better cases is a NGO that provides a way for people with HIV to work. And so because HIV clinics generate enormous sums or enormous amounts of plastic waste, they basically they're making plastic lumber and furniture from a lot of this recycled plastic, including and collecting plastic from the community. And this is employing people who normally would not be able to find work in the Philippines and provide for the daily bread. So that would be one. I guess other things we do is we built several recycling facilities in Cotabato and Mindanao, and previously the plastic was being burned in open pits, and now they are converting plastic that either went into the ocean or burned into usable, valuable things for their community, like furniture, fencing, things like that.
Okay, thank you. Can I just move on to Sarah and the Civitel Bangkok Hotel and ask you again the same question: what measures, innovations has your company done made towards circular economy?
Thank you, Thomas, and everyone here. So for Civitel Bangkok Hotel, in terms of circular economy, we are focusing on become zero food waste hotel, and we already achieved our mission by the end of last year already. And the approach that we use here is we feeding black soldier fly while eating up all the food waste on a daily basis, and we pass all the black soldier flies to the Tan Kun organic chicken farm, the organic chicken farm that we have worked with them for 8 years already, and we buy organic chicken and organic eggs from them. So it's kind of the closed loop for the food waste. And now we plan to scale this project up by inviting all the small restaurant nearby to join us.
Can I ask you, what motivates your family to go for zero waste and circular economy? Why do you do this?
Actually, because food waste is one of the biggest problem, I think, all around the world, and especially for hotel sector, I think it's played a major role in producing food waste. And even the Bangkok metropolitan, they have to spend more than 30.5 million euro per year to manage all the waste, and of course 60% of those waste are food waste. So we just would like to take part and be responsible for the waste that we produce to make it become zero. So we don't produce the waste out of our hotel. And I and my team are so glad that we became zero food waste hotel already, and we have the mission to be zero waste to landfill by the end of this year. So that's our next mission.
Thank you. That's great. So you start small and it just grows into other areas. Thanks, Jesse. Can I just ask Ingrid on your past ventures, Ingrid, the same question: what measures and innovations did your company make towards circular economy?
Yes, thank you, Thomas, very much. I think at Husk Ventures, we turn a low-value agricultural waste product, in our case rice husk, into biochar. And during this so-called pyrolysis process, in which we heat on the with very high temperature but very low oxygen, the CO2 that is in the rice husk is converted into a fixed form, making this technique carbon sequestration technology, for which we get carbon credits. However, the biochar is also an amazing product for regenerative agriculture for several reasons: because of its water holding capacity in the soil, because of its acting like a housing for microorganisms, and also because of the nutrient storage capabilities of the biochar. And so we take this biochar and we upgrade it into an organic fertilizer that we then sell back to the rice farmers to grow rice again. And by using these products, they reduce the amount of chemical use by 60%. And so we are building soil, we're sinking carbon, and we improve the lives of the farmers by giving them lower input costs, but better yields.
So there's a benefit for both your stakeholders, the farmers, your company, as well as for the environment.
Yes, indeed,
okay.
Yes.
Just go back to the startup of the husband and wife team of Alex and LOT and ask you a question. I mean, with your experience of the last few years, what lessons that you have learned in doing this work would you recommend to other small and medium-sized enterprises? Being MSME Day is so much true. What would you share with others?
I think when we started, we had a big dream. We thought we will use train also for the freight and so on. And then there's some things not possible at the end. So you should not be afraid to start small, like small step, because change, it takes a lot for other people to adopt it. So don't be scared to start really small, and then you can grow in the direction you really want to grow.
I think it's so valuable. Just start. Don't wait, but have good dreams, big dreams. Can I ask the same question to Bruce on precious plastics? You have been operating for some years and working. What would the lessons learned that you recommend to other MSMEs? You're not micro, but you're small and medium.
Okay, so I guess the biggest lesson was going to debt and focus on making real things with real value. Try not to get caught up in the esoteric things that people aren't gonna buy, because we need to make waste plastic precious and valuable. And so that's why we're focusing on, everyday commodity items like fence posts and boards and things like that.
Oh, thank you very much. And can I ask Elisa the same question? What lessons do you share with MSMEs from your experience? SMEs.
For me, and what I believe is from waste to value. What is our waste or value to others? So instead of like looking into the operation within our company, so just look out for partnership that we can collaborate and co-creation together to turn all the waste to be value.
Oh, that's really great. And Ingrid, what would you give advice to an MSME?
Yes, that if you actually two, one is to make a product that really adds value to your end user, and so and really understand what your end user wants. So for example, for us, we thought, okay, the biochar is an amazing product, every farmer wants this, but in the end, farmers are you cannot act green if your bank account is red, and so they need immediately results. And therefore, we really had to upgrade our end products that we did do immediately, fortunately, by listening very carefully to what the farmer actually needs. And not just think about, okay, this is green, so it's going to work, because there needs to be a business case. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, if you want to scale and if you want to scale your solution, you need to start with fundraising as soon as possible, because it takes a very long time for fundraising. And so if you want to scale, then you need to start fundraising as soon as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have got some very valuable lessons to summarize. Take those steps, be real, practical, and look for value, and work with others as partnerships, and also look at the value for your stakeholders. So you need to engage your stakeholders and help them to succeed as well, and then raise the resources, the funds to do it. But could I just also ask you how the circular economy, as you heard from Rene and all the introductions, we need to mobilize and operationalize these things for the broader. It can't be just a few, but we need many to do this. So one of the ideas that we create is to have a network to promote and push this. What would be your thoughts to be this part of this network to propagate these ideas and these concepts, which you can learn from others and also learn from yourselves? I will now ask Ingrid now, what is your view, and then the others? Because I've been asking the husband and wife team all the time to start, so I'll go the other way.
I think what helped us a lot in especially in the beginning phase is that we had organizations and NGOs like Swiss Asia, but not Swiss Asia, but others that really facilitated groups like ourselves that were working in the circular economy or working in sustainability, and helped us connect with each other and learn from each other, but also helped in funding at the beginning. And that was really important for us to start and to get a better understanding, and also to get really into the business and into the business mindset. So those kind of facilitators really helps in groups like this, in a network like this. Yeah.
Thank you. Could I ask Alisara, what do you think is important for us in a network?
I think yes, like I said earlier, partnership is one of the key success factor, because I think what we would like to do, we are not the first person in the world who would like to do that, but just have the clear purpose and looking for a partner, not only in terms of collaboration, but sometimes it can be like knowledge exchange. Like for us, nowadays, every month we have other organizations, both internationally and in Thailand, come to visit us at a hotel, like 3-4 organizations per month. So I think this kind of networking and partnership is one of the key success factors as well.
Thank you very much. And Bruce, what would be your ideals and thoughts for this network? You're muted.
Sorry. Well, we do work with different groups now. We're a member of the Philippine Association of Plastic Manufacturers, and through there, we've been working with the Extended Producers Responsibility Act, which provides a big financial incentive back towards recycling for small people like us. We're also work with or other organizations like the Coca-Cola World Without Waste Program, United Nations Development Program. We do quite a few projects with them, and Rotary, quite a few. It's a pretty big list of groups that we network with and work with locally.
Thanks, Broder. And finally, LOD and Alex, can you tell us what do you, if you have network, how do you would like to see your expectations and your thoughts on that?
Start. Well, we try. Unfortunately, time doesn't always allow it to bring our customers and also, let's say, a network together of other startups in sustainability. Would be great, of course, to have more of this facilitated on a regular basis, because I think that's still missing. We are currently actually in Phuket because on Saturday there's a farmers market with one of our clients only promoting organic and sustainable products. So those are the things we would go to.
Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes, yeah, we're so busy with work, we have no time to research about other. And as example, Alisara, she's only like 300 meters from our office, Hotel Civatel, and never heard of the amazing work she's doing. So Like it's something, yes, sometimes we don't have time to research because we're so busy with like daily life things, and then thanks to that kind of networking webinar, we discover about what other people are doing.
Okay, if I could, I'm sorry, it's I'm a little over time, and I think we've covered very well. I want to just thank you all for your contributions. If I could just say some of the lessons that I picked up is to get started is the most important thing, knowing your purpose, of getting small steps, knowing where you're going, and just having the right values to do it. But I thought you also ended up by saying very clearly on that how you think you could work together, the network would be useful, is facilitation for peer learning, learning from each other, learning exchange, and learning of experiences, and also partnerships, so that you can we can have circularity in what you do with more people on this. And I also heard the thing about the extended producer responsibilities and preparing for future trends, legislation, rules that's coming up. So if you got organization in terms of preparations, you could do some research, you could help you to spend time to focus on the real business with some ideas, with all those things coming up. So with this, no, thank you very much for your contributions. I'm sorry it took a long, but it was worthwhile listening to you. The only regret I have is we didn't have more time. So we should continue the discussions. I will again strongly advise and recommend everybody to go to the website and read the other 51 cases. Thank you. Thank you, Lorraine.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. Very much interesting discussion on the business cases. Now we move forward and the agenda, and we welcome Mr. Gil Gonzalez, who is the Executive Secretary of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council. He will be speaking to us about the business action in ASEAN towards responsible and inclusive business conduct as foundation for circular economy. Mr. Gil, you have the floor.
Well, thank you very much, Lorraine. So I'm so delighted to have heard the sampling of the cases, and congratulations for this very beautiful foundational work in promoting circular economy. As I very much heard, the key elements to a successful advocacy for circular economy apparently are all there. So I've heard that there are already support groups which provided help to those who spoke this afternoon, where they got their mentoring and so on. And also some, even we got some financial support in terms of incentives also to kick it off. So coming from the vantage point of a ASEAN Business Advisory Council, we're here really, hopefully, to give you a bigger stage on how we could exponentially scale up your 50 to become 100 and doubling every year, so that we're able to create that critical mass. So it seems to me that we're starting from a point wherein you have very motivated samplings who are there not only because it makes business case to do this innovation, but also advocating a higher objective of protecting the planet. Now, how do we scale this up, and how do we provide that ecosystem more effectively and faster, more efficiently? I guess is the challenge for a business organization like me. And how do we strengthen the different support groups that are already helping people on the ground and having synergy and complementation with each one? So coming from the ASEAN BAC, we are here as a ready partner on how to find now those very specific inputs to be able to slowly but surely replicate the models that we've heard today in the in the very near future. So we want to dig in more into your 50 cases and find out how are we able to provide the right mentoring, the right financial support for those who will require financial support, and the market. So a key element I think that we also want to know is, did it add to the value creation for each one, on top of minimizing the costs, of course, the margins will increase, but did it open up new markets for them? As basically the global value chain are asking for this type of promotion and inputs from their supply chains themselves. So thank you.
Thank you, Gil, for your intervention. So now we move on to the discussion and feedback, which will be moderated by Thomas. Thomas, please go back to the floor.
Thank you, Lorraine. I am completely aware of time and the pressures and realize. So in respect to things, I've gone through all these questions in the chat. Some is technical, but I think the best person to answer all these questions would be our team leader, Zinaida. I'm going to tell Zinaida, Zinaida, this is so much of enthusiasm. There's so many questions on the people wanting to get together, asking questions on matching. What is next? What is your vision for the next, Zinaida?
Thank you, colleagues. Amazing discussion. Every time we interact with you, it's always an inspiration and small discovery. In fact, colleagues, all of us, I'm looking, 115 of us still around the globe connecting. We're just witnessing a very special moment of two of our businesses finding each other potentially in a very productive and beautiful and profitable partnership. So that's something which you just got witnessed. So that's a little plus for these efforts which we are making. Now, Thomas, to answer your question, maybe allow me to say the following. So for our program, continuation of working with all of you, individual partners, business associations, it's quite important to see the strong response on this initial stage. And from our side, we do see the strong response. So this community of business is taking responsibility and opportunity without waiting for others. So you are really bringing through your actions inspiration to others. So it's becoming a snowball. Well, forgive the analogy from the northern countries. But it's a snowball effect which helps others to innovate, to see how innovation is adult technically. We could see interaction on the chat. So how you've done it, where did you get a particular equipment? So can we connect in the future? Some answers are not answers. Sorry about that. For those which didn't get your questions answered, please write to us. We will try to connect you behind the screens. So we see innovation in terms of technology, in terms of products. Quite a lot of cases are about that. So we saw, Ingrid, from you, indication of innovation in the area of financing. So you are really a force for demanding change. And therefore, we feel it is quite important to continue to, because we do see that this concept, complex and not so easy operationalize circular economy does live. It does live in the countries of ASEAN already. And also it is very much linked to the local knowledge. Local means not only traditional knowledge of practices, but also locally scientific and engineering knowledge. So it's quite important to see how the concepts and principles become enveloped in real practices and how does it live. It's not an idea of which is abstract and forced on us from outside. It's something which lives, thrives, and does require support, and we are happy to do that. So what we will do on the next stage, of course, with associations like ASEAN Business Advisory Council. Jill, thank you very much for being with us. With ASEAN MSME Advisory Board, we will be working on figuring out the strategies, how to operationalize this work. But we certainly will continue facilitation of sharing experiences, having exchange of innovations, analysis more in depth of those innovations, exchange of knowledge, and as I mentioned, figuring out the ways forward. So we will work towards the grander work idea of building alliance in the ASEAN among the businesses and business associations, speaking with several very important groups for us. We will speak with national business associations, for example, with Philippines Chamber of Commerce and Industry and with CADIM. So those entities are already in strong conversation with us. We will work with regional business membership organizations. I mentioned already ASEAN BAC. Jill was with us now. We will speak with ASEAN MSME Advisory Board. We will certainly speak and work with EU business organizations, with Eurochams. We certainly will speak with EU-supported projects like Green Team Initiative, it's ASEAN Regional Circular Economy Transition Initiative. So we would have to really connect the dots and support different champions, would they be regional organizations or national organizations, in supporting these networks to exactly connect the MSMEs and larger companies to regional markets of circular services and products, as well as global ones. So this is a commitment. Certain things we know how to do it and what to do it. Certain things in the coming few months we are going to figure out together with all of you. So, and with this, Thomas, back to you. But from our side, big thanks for being with us and showing your fantastic leadership.
Thank you very much, Zinaida. And the last word you said was commitment for the future, and I look forward to it. I would just sum up by quoting acknowledge one of these wise men who put some comments in the chat group as could be. This is Mr. Florian Benedek. His head is shining like mine, and he has the beard. He says, so relevant for this region. Great to see brilliant examples of truly regional companies and ASEAN entrepreneurial spirit. Local power is key. As Gail said, this group will grow and grow and grow. Thank you. I think that's a good summation. Thank you, Florian, for giving the words. Back to you, Lorraine.
Thank you, Thomas. So to close the webinar, we would like to ask Dr. Rene van Berkel to give his closing reflections and next steps. And please, everyone, do not leave, because we would like to have a caption of your videos. If you could open the videos later so we can have a photo before we end the webinar. Okay. Rene?
Thank you, Lorraine. And I should first of all say thank you to all these inspiring entrepreneurs and business cases which are there. You're truly inspirational. That word has already been mentioned, but it is really heartfelt that you're doing the hard work of turning some opportunity into action and making things happen. I would maybe like to make a couple of observations. I think, first of all, if we start circular economy, it opens a kind of worms in the sense that we can discuss about definitions for a very long time. And even though we have now an ISO standard, this is likely to continue. So this definitional uncertainty is is there and is there with us to stay. And that has sort of prevented work moving forward. But we see on the other hand that if we open up our minds and we look at what it means operationally, like we have done with these guiding principles and so on, there's a lot of things which we can actually do. So even though we have not sorted out what circular economy is exactly means or so and definition and academic hair splitting, there's many business opportunities, many opportunities that are there. And in these opportunities, and that's my second point, we see also what Florian is also saying, it is ASEAN-centric. These are very ASEAN solutions, how we grow pepper, how we grow rice, how we deal with some of the handicrafts industries. It cannot almost be more ASEAN-centric or more ASEAN-relevant than that. It's a diverse agenda, so it's not just about waste management, but it's much more diverse. And if we make it more diverse, we can also link up and see the networking, which was already happening. So this was also the idea that we want to inspire. So to inspire others to follow suit and to maybe do not exactly cut and paste, but you've done something, maybe I can do something similar, but my business is different as we would say here, same but different. So same ideas, but in a different application, and we can move forward. And I reiterate my points that I think that purpose, innovation, knowledge, and entrepreneurship are really keywords. I think in terms of network moving forward, and Jill already mentioned that, Sinaida or Thomas, I think there is a genuine commitment to try to see how we can create an alliance, a network that is moving forward to grow this together with business membership organizations to have something which is business-led. This is about business, and how we make products, how we sell them in the market, how we develop and apply technology and work with that. So my last comment would basically be we have 55 cases. Go happy reading on them, but also stay tuned, because we are clearly on a mission to show you more and convince you even more that this is the right way forward. So thank you very much for your participation. Please sound this out, help us to preach the gospel, so to say, but not the gospel that is something that we can't do. This is something that businesses in ASEAN can start working on. So thank you very much. So if we switch on some cameras, then we could have a nice picture, as Lorraine well wanted. We need to have this for the record. So thank you very much. I see more cameras.
Anne, did you get the photo?
Give me.
Yeah. So please open your videos, your cameras, so everyone can be part of the photo to be taken. Okay.
And still stay for a little while, because there are so many pages which Anne needs to make sure are captured. So look at your beautiful faces. So how many
look at the diversity which we have around the table.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Incredible. Really, truly incredible.
Okay.
Hey.
Are the photos taken? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much
you so
for
much.
joining us.
Stay tuned. We move forward. Thank you.
Thank you
Happy
very
World
much.
MSME Day.
Okay.
Happy MSME Day.
Happy. Bye.
Bye.